The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components' location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Spokane Valley, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38023. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. First, let's start at the front bumper area. Starting first on the officer side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Right next to that, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find dual air horns. As we move up onto the bumper extension, in the center area, you'll find a hose storage location with Velcro tie-downs. Moving over to the driver's side, top section of the front bumper, swivel discharge. Let's move up onto the cab area, first starting with your unit identifier, E8. Now moving up onto the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator, and then just inside that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam will be located on the inside of the cluster. Just up from that, emergency warning light cluster. Above the Spokane Valley logo is where you'll find 3 windshield wipers, seamless one-piece windshield. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Also located in this area, you'll find 2 slightly angled forward-facing floodlights on the passenger and driver side. Up onto the roof is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located with inside the light bar is your opticom in the center. Let's take a quick look at the vehicle from the driver's side, full view. We'll focus in on the cab section next. Pump panel area, body section. We'll move around to the rear of the apparatus, and then around to the passenger side body, full view. Midsection, and then front cab area. We'll get into some details now. First, let's start with the front bumper area. We'll take another look at that from just a different angle. You do have a emergency warning light on the bumper extension, side facing. Also angled here of the front storage location. Let's take a look inside. This is a divided space. And then we'll move now to the driver's side, where you'll find the swivel front bumper discharge. It is foam capable. Moving up to the top section, brow of the apparatus, and then we'll start into the driver's side area. First, let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel is where you'll find our safety and warning placard information, also electric window controls, grab handle, combination door lock and latch. And these are all of our indications here for warning information located on the door panel. Let's move just inside the cab area. We'll start down at the very bottom section in the stepwell area, first starting on the left-hand side with your air inlet. Moving just to the right, you'll find a 20 amp shoreline inlet. This is the red cover. And then moving over to the right is where you'll find the gray cover, which is your engine block heater. Let's move just up from this location into the cab area, where you'll find, when plugged into shoreline power, your Pro Mariner will become active, indicating battery status. Also, this placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number of the vehicle, also fluid capacity information regarding component fluids, and also fluid types. Let's move to about the left knee of the operator, where you'll find the master battery switch. It's a quarter turn, tech module plug-in, ABS transmission and diagnostic ABS port, ABS diagnostic switch, DPN regen switch, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. As you move to the bottom, you'll find an isolator switch for your Q2B. Let's move up from this location, where you'll find your tire chains activation, fan clutch on and off, and also a load manager switch. To the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find the instructions for your pump shift from road to pump, and then also from pump to road. Just as a reminder, 2 green indicators need to be indicating pump engaged, okay to pump for pump operations when leaving the cab. Let's move up from this location where you'll find the flat mirror and convex mirror controls. And now we'll take a look at the dash area, starting on the left with the start ignition switch. Just inside that, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage and disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and panel switch allow you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the opposite side, OK to engage your high idle and switch and an indicator. Transmission, oil, depth level, and water temp on the left side of the cluster of gauges. On the right side, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Directly in the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer and tachometer, located also in the digital readout screen between the two. General view here of the right side. Let's focus in next on your command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. This is a touch screen and also function button. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, and mirror heat. Pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the rear spring brake. Also to the right, Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, and also an informational note, pump in drive. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Moving just to the right, some additional switches here for front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, and perimeter lights. Moving further to the right, you'll find a siren brake and then also 12-volt access via USB port. Moving overhead of the driver's position, let's focus in on the yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, which is 10 feet 0 inches, length 31 feet 1 inch, gross vehicle weight rating 45,000 pounds. If you make any adjustments to this vehicle that adjust or change this information, please update this placard for your operator. Let's move just to the right where you'll find additional switches for Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When the switch has been actively turned on, the light will illuminate within each individual switch. Moving to the right, you'll find the high beam flash, Opticom, which is controlled inside the light bar, siren brake for your mechanical siren, and radio master switch. Moving further to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker module. Overhead, you'll find the Whelen Traffic Advisor located in the center area. As we move toward the center section, you'll find also seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green there in the seat and belted. Also, do not move your apparatus when this light is on, indicating you may have a compartment or door ajar. Moving as a quick look to the back, we have 2 forward-facing SCBA seats. Let's take a look behind the driver's seat where you'll find when plugged into Shoreline Power, this outlet becomes active. Also, backup speaker, there is volume control on the face of that. Moving just to the right, you'll find a 12-volt bus bar and then also a manual cab tilt bar. Let's go ahead and move now to the cab section area on the exterior where you'll find a keyed lock push button. Your vehicle is equipped with Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. Let's go ahead and take a look now into the rear section of the cab area. As we move to this, you'll find attached to the door panel, once again, safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we move to the rear, general view, 2 forward-facing seats. Moving to this intersection, lift and turn latch in the very center at the rear portion of the engine. This is for your daily checks for your oil. We have another view of that in just a moment. Overhead, push on and off red and white lenses, air conditioning unit. In the forward section, directly behind the officer and driver's seat, you'll find additional storage. Just on the rear portion of the engine cowling, 12-volt access. This is the access here from the lift and turn into the rear portion of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Now to the officer side where you'll find a 12-volt bus bar. Also directly overhead behind the officer seat additional storage. Let's move exterior now, where you'll find your crosslays. There are 3 located here: crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and a 2.5 inch. I also like to point out a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move down in the lower portion, additional storage, double pan door, D-handle gains access, and just above that location, backboard storage location. Let's move to the pump panel in the very top section, where you'll find the master intake and master discharge gauge. In between the two of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the left, you'll find the fire pump primer. It's a push-to-prime air prime, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Your isolator switch for your foam tank for either foam selection A or foam selection B, flush in the center. Also a warning placard: do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. You do have 2 tanks, so we have 2 different foam A and foam B. At the very top, we have a pump overheat. And as we move to the right, you'll find your Foam Pro control module. That's the blue module. Moving further to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Moving just slightly down, you'll find all of our discharges. They are color-coded and also labeled. They do have an informational red placard indicating that they are foam capable. As we move further down, you'll find large diameter. These are 2.5 and large diameter discharges in the next row down. Also, you'll find an engine cooler. It is a rotation, not a pull. Moving further to the right, you'll find a switch panel here for your scene lights, in addition with an indicator for OK to pump. It is a green indicator if you gauge your pump properly from inside the cab. Moving further down, we have a water tank level indicator. Moving just to the right, you'll find the tank fill, and then just beneath that, you'll find the tank to pump. Let's move further down on the pump panel. Starting on the left, you have 2.5 inch discharges located here on the pump panel. Moving further down, a warning placard indicating that pressure hazard caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Moving further to the right, you'll find your extend gun. This is to raise your master stream device. Also, Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet. Up to the right, recirculating line. This is also a twist, and then also an intake relief valve, adjustable here at the pump panel. Let's move further down on the pump panel at the very bottom section. First, I'd like to point out once again the pressure warning hazard, which we just talked about, and then also your driver's side auxiliary inlet, 2.5 inch female, locally controlled via ball valve. Moving further to the right, you'll find the watcher's placard indicating the type of pump that you have, 1,500 GPM. Also the minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in great depth in just a moment. To the right, you'll find the pump drain, and then also manual pump shift. Across the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move down to the running board, you'll find a cutout for hose storage, dry deck material, and also Velcro to hold the hose in position. Moving further to the right side on the vertical wall, you'll find your Foam Pro specifications and instructions, and also warning regarding fall injury. Watcher's placard, as I previously mentioned. Let's take a look at the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left-hand side, you'll find the associated GPM at that test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM. While in pump mode, you have a governed speed of 2,400 RPMs. Looking to the left-hand side vertical wall at the very top section, this is the location of your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will become active, maintaining your batteries. Let's take a look down at the very bottom section. We have additional drains located here. And then let's move into the section next compartment at the very top, pull out and tilt downward shelf. There are 2 release mechanisms for this, both on the right and left hand side. As we move into the lower compartments, we have SCBA bottle storage just in front of the axle. Below that, this is your DEF fill location. It is the blue cap. 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. As we previously mentioned, Michelin tires and Alcoa wheels. To the rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles, and also the ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. It is the silver cap. Moving now to the next compartments, adjustable shelves, LED lighting. Moving further down in the vertical surface forward, you'll find a shoreline outlet. Once again, this becomes active when your shoreline is plugged in. Full view, all compartments open. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus next. As we move to the left-hand side, you'll find rear scene lights and hosebed light cupped switch. This is the access to gain aloft to the top of the hosebed with the drop-down steps. Moving to the center section, I'd like to point out some warning placards here. Pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Also, fall injury hazard. When climbing on and off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. In the very center, you'll find a indicator here for warning entanglement hazard because those lines coming out aloft from the hosebed. There's the possibility of entanglement. And then to the right, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Let's move to the left where you'll find the driver rear discharge 2.5 inch. As we move further down, you'll find a space saver bumper. The door does drop down with an upper section that does lift up, pull out shelf, and also an adjustable trace. Let's move around to the right-hand side or passenger side of the vehicle. Once again, adjustable shelves, LED lighting. Also, you'll find shoreline outlet when plugged into this compartment. You do have shoreline power, 20 amps. As we move to the center, an adjustable shelf also. SCBA bottle storage in front and rear of the axle for 2 SCBA bottles. As previously mentioned, Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. Moving now just to the forward section, close-up of the SCBA bottle storage. As we move forward of the front axle, this is the location for your exhaust. There is extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures which do exist, especially during regen operations. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move forward to that location, adjustable shelves, LED lighting. Also in this compartment, you'll find a shoreline outlet. Moving now to the pump panel area, let's start at the very top section and we'll work our way downward. In the forward portion, you'll find accessible both from the passenger and driver side backboard storage. Also, same configuration and layout as we have on the passenger and driver side. These are your hose lays. As we move through the safety warning placard here, once again, when climbing on and off the vehicle, always face the vehicle, and then also pressure warning hazard because those caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move to the cab lift, there are instructions on this module to raise and also to lower. We do have some caution and danger placard information on this because of that movement. Also, powered equipment rack switch module located here. There is an on-off switch for power and then up or down on the lift. Also some warning placard information. Behind the pan door, you'll find the A tank and B tank for your Class A foams and Class B foams. A real rewind switch and then also large diameter passenger side. This is the large diameter pump inlet. As we move further down, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with a 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet on the passenger side. This is a female, locally controlled by the ball valve. As we move into the pan door, you'll find the hydraulic equipment rack hydraulic reservoir, specifically pointing out the 32 multi-VIS HID fluid. As we move to the very bottom, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet. General view back at the pump panel area, just to the forward section, additional storage, and then directly over this is where you'll find your storage location for your cross lays. Let's go ahead and move back into the cab section now, starting at the rear portion of the cab. Once again, safety and warning placard information on the door panel, window control, electric door lock, and window control. Grab handle overhead speakers, in addition with push on and off red and white lenses. Just a general view here of the forward-facing seats. As we move to the forward section here, general layout inside the cab area. And then we'll move to the exterior where you'll find a side-facing camera and then also an electronic keyed access. Inside the front axle, you'll also find a visual sight gauge indicator. As we move now into the forward section or officer space, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and then also a grab handle. As we move to the floor, you'll find mechanical siren foot pedal. This is in the officer space, and as we move forward that location, you'll find these throughout the vehicle. They're candy cane labels indicating that there is a warning indicating do not move this. There is spare wiring behind. In addition, it has the option number and also what the spare wiring is intended for. Just under the seat, you'll find additional storage location. Overhead, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio. Moving now back to the exterior. All compartments open. We're showing now the ladder rack in its down or deployed. We do have a 24-foot extension ladder, 14-foot roof, and then also pike pole tubes. On the very bottom section of your ladder rack is where you'll find your 10-foot folding ladder. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the top or roof section of the cab area. First, starting with the cab, this is a non-walking surface. We do have some additional placards located in this area just as a warning indicating that this is a non-walking surface. As we move to the dunnage area, this is directly behind the cab. This is where you'll find your master stream device. As we move to the booster line, you'll find a free tension spool knob and then also a manual rewind where you'll fit the tool located in that. On the very top in the dunnage, you'll also find in the body section the Class A and Class B foam tanks. These are for top fill, and then also your water tank, which is also top fill location. Let's go ahead and go back to the foam tanks. An indication here for warning placard: do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This applies to both tank A and tank B. As we move down to the rest of the body section, you'll find forward hatches located in this area. You'll also find yellow diamond indicating the edge of the walking surface for firefighters. General view here with the hose bed open. There are two hose bed dividers located in the center. They are adjustable. The next set of images, we'll start that of the chassis area. We'll start first with the undercarriage area. Then we'll move to the engine area. Would like to point out when you have tilted the cab, there is a safety bar that needs to be put into place. Once this bar is put into place, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure behind both left and right cab lift cylinders. As we move through the engine components, let's start first with the very front section. This is the recovery for your radiator. To the right hand side is where you'll find the radiator indicator as far as its level, power steering fluid level, oil dipstick, and then also to the right, transmission dipstick. Moving further along the frame rail where you'll find the battery location, we are now on the driver's side where you'll find just underneath the batteries the two positive and negative terminals for jumping your vehicle. To the right, you'll also find the hydraulic cab lift reservoir. There'll be no additional discussion in regards to the next set of images. These are just merely for locational purposes. This will end the additional chassis images. Congratulations, Spokane Valley, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.